Hey everyone, it's Neflarian with another video in Uamore down, World Boss Tier 11 down, and the 8th raid. Again, I'm not going to go over every familiar, but more so just the ones that you might want to keep an eye on when you're in that tier, and I will only mention ones that can be obtained from within that tier. So even if a familiar schematic is available or some of the parts are, I'm not going to talk about them until you can actually make them. And I'm also not going over Invasion or Expedition. If you missed any of my other videos, check them out, as those familiars will carry you through this tier as well. Without further ado, let's jump right in with familiars found in Tier 11. Just like last tier, we got two new world bosses this time, Brimstone at the release and Titans halfway through. So there's a whole lot to go over again, so let's get started. First, I'm going to talk about some raid familiars. If this raid is hard, it's because of the enemy's bonus. You remove 15% of the enemy health when you first get hit. It's only usable once per adventure, but in the raid you only encounter an enemy once, so it's super strong. As a familiar on your team, it's less strong, but you still get some access to it. Encherzog also has 22.5% in power and a 0 SP multi-hit skill. Two of their skills also do a self-hit, which might make you scratch your head a little bit, but if they go first and they self-hit, they trigger that special ability without needing to be hit by an enemy. It's definitely a neat familiar, but more of a novelty than something more beefy. It becomes less exciting when you see the 100 fusion materials you need just to make a single one. Gakgo has the same special ability and the same downsides of needing those materials, but this one's a tank. It has decent damage reduction and an alright self-sustain. If you're going to spend your red skulls somewhere though, this would probably be where, because a hyper expensive familiar uses Gakgo as an ingredient in their fusion. And that fusion is Rigneous. Instead of removing 15% of the enemy health, it's bumped up to 20%, and they have an 80% built-in block. That's significant because a single legendary or mythic block augment will put them at max block, leaving two open slots to load up with something else like evade or deflect. Their stat distribution is phenomenal, with very little wasted to speed, and there is a self-sustain at 0 SP, making them a really good tank. The downside though is their cost. Holy crap, they are expensive. 2 of the raid boss, 3 Gakgo, and then 2 separate Gabi fusions that each take 2 separate specific raid goblins. This is by far the most expensive familiar up to this point, and even though it's probably the best tank at this point, very close to it, they are not worth it. Up first in the new world boss, Brimstone's Syndicate, is Delong. This is an epic bait that's an epic version of Glarstos. If you farm Gloss, just skip him. If you're having trouble, this familiar will suit you. He's got 17.5 damage reduction, 2.5% absorb, and on an epic bait, that's actually really good. Their skills leave some room to be desired, but this would be a good stepping zone until you get a legendary bait. Chedzun Aiki is a pretty good DPS familiar, and that can honestly stay relevant way late into the game. They have a really high dual strike, and even a chance at a quad strike to get more brain procs, which is especially great when paired with their 2 multi-hit skills. One big downside I see here is they only have 1 target skill and it's a drain, so you can't really hammer a target with damage very well. Overall, he is a great PvP option that will also do well in PvE. Gyushido is another bait, not quite as good as Glarstos, but really good. Also, another one of their components is Delong, so if you use them as a stepping stone, you're already on your way there. They have 27.5% damage reduction, which is higher than Glarstos, and it gets paired with a 2.5% evade instead of absorb. Their health is low enough to bait for some of the in-game DPS familiars as well, which is a really good bonus. Where they really fall short though is sustain. They only have a shield self and a drain target, so there's no sustaining the rest of your team aside from using a brain. Ignatus Ra is the mythic from Brimstone, and believe you me, they are good. They're a bit pricey, needing 3 legendary fusions from Brimstone, which means a total of 105 fusion materials each, but they are worth it. They're a low health bait, so they can bait for more DPS familiars. They have 60% block chance, and your team will deal 5% more damage. Block chance is at a weird spot because no matter what, you need 2 block pumps to max. I'd rather see it at 70%, so a single mythic would do that, but they're still extremely strong. I know quite a few in-game players that still use Ra as their bait. They don't have team sustain, but they will sustain themselves just fine with their skills and amazing stat distribution. Moving into Titan Attack's world boss, there's a few really important familiars here. I would mention Demeter because he's a great deflect tank, but in this world boss there are very specific familiars to make, starting with Krakon. Krakon has 30% dual strike and 5% water damage. Good stats, okay skills. He isn't really anything to write home about. However, he is a serviceable hybrid DPS healer that you can use. Their biggest benefit, though, is that they're used in a mythic fusion that you very much want. Porhuis is in the same boat as Krakon, with 60% crit chance and 5% damage instead of dual strike. They have easier access to sustain skills, and they have an okay stat spread, but again, they can be a serviceable healer, but their main benefit is being used in a mythic fusion. And that mythic fusion is Teithyus. They take 70 Coraliner to make a single one, which is lower than other world boss mythics. If you make a Krakon and a Porhuis, all you have to do after that is capture Mogr from the Morgarath zone, and you're good to go. Teeth gets a higher max shield, 30% evade, and 20% water damage reduction. Their evade means that with mythic evade pumps, you can hit the evade cap of 75%, and anytime you don't evade, the water resistance will make it hurt just a little bit less. They have a phenomenal stat spread, wasting very little in speed, a 0 SP shield self, and a spread shield and heal team if you manage to get to the 3 SP. This is one of the best tank familiars in the game at this point, and is 100% worth the grind. I still use Teeth as my tank, and I do not see that changing anytime soon. Those are the familiars that I wanted to mention from tier 11. We got a great in-game tank, some serviceable other familiars, and a pretty good bait as well. Was there a familiar that you think I skipped over that should have been included? Which are your favorite familiars? Let me know in the comments down below, and good luck on your grind for the best familiars. If you want to discuss this video, my past videos, suggest future ones, check out my Discord, linked in the description below. You'll find a helpful and hyped community and get all the news regarding your favorite games. Big giveaways and events hosted for the Bitverse will be mentioned there, so with any luck, you can win things like XXL packs or Ultra Cores. By being a part of my community, you won't ever miss a chance to enter those, and there will even be exclusive giveaways occasionally for members of my community. I hope to see you there, and thanks for hanging out today. If you want to support me in getting better equipment or making more videos, check out the link in my channel, and don't forget to like this video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, subscribe if you want more, and I will see you in the next video.